Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Magic Monday, where I talk about any and everything related to the popular trading card game Magic the Gathering. The most recent standard legal set, The Brothers' War, focused on the brothers Urza and Mishra, taking a deeper look into their characters as well as giving them both new and unique cards. While the story aspect of the set was nice, Wizards of the Coast went a bit overboard during the design process, giving both characters 4 new cards each. Today I will be ranking all of these new cards as well as their older versions from worst to best, so we can finally know which brother reigns supreme. Starting out with an oldie but a goodie, we have Urza Lord High Artificer. This Urza is amazing for a variety of reasons. His first ability creates a construct token when he enters the battlefield. This provides you with a cheap blocker early game, which can easily turn into a big threat if left alone. What really makes him powerful, though, is his second ability, which allows you to tap an artifact to make a blue mana. This ability can easily go infinite with the right combo pieces, as well as provides powerful utility with cards like Winter Orb and Howling Mine. This ability also pairs well with his third ability, which lets you play the top card of your deck for free if you pay 5 mana. It can be activated repeatedly once you have infinite mana, effectively allowing you to play your entire deck. On top of this, you can also use it in other situations to attempt to fish for answers to big threats, or even just get some cards onto the board. This Urza is easily S tier, with powerful abilities and tons of combo potential. On top of that, it has some nasty synergies with strong cards, which in my opinion makes it the best Urza on our list today. Up next, we have the Blind Seer, who isn't stated to be an Urza on his card, but we know he is because of the power of lore. His only ability is to change the color of a spell or permanent until the end of turn, which isn't very good. At least it makes the choice to put this Urza into the D tier extremely easy. Now we get to the more recent Urzas, who, funny enough, were all printed in the same set. First up is Urza Powerstone Prodigy. Being an uncommon, we can already tell that it won't be the greatest, and sure enough, it is an extremely okay card. The ability to draw and discard a card is mediocre at best, especially in blue, a color that has a lot of card draw. And the incentive to activate this ability isn't great either. His third ability only triggers when you discard an artifact, and even when you do, you're only rewarded with a Power Stone token, which isn't very good. I've decided to put this Urza in the C tier, as while it isn't very powerful, it still has a bit of potential to be good in the right situations. Next is Urza, Prince of Krug. This Urza's primary function is to buff your artifact creatures, which is great and all, but he doesn't really serve any function past that. His second ability lets you pay 6 mana to make a 1/1 copy of an artifact you control. This sounds good on paper, but 1/1 creatures are really easy to kill, which can leave you at a huge mana disadvantage if your opponents have any sort of removal. Despite this glaring flaw, giving all your artifacts +2/+2 is, at the very least, okay, so I'll be placing this Urza in the C tier. Then we have Urza Lord Protector. The Lord Protector is actually pretty solid, with his primary ability making all of your artifacts, instants, and sorceries cost 1 less to cast. This on its own is pretty good, but he also has the benefit of being able to meld with the Might Stone and the Weak Stone and transform into Urza Planeswalker, which is an extremely powerful card. I would put this Urza into the A tier, since it can help build your board in the early game, as well as turn into a powerful piece in the late game. Now we come to the last Urza on the list, Urza Chief Artificer. While Affinity for Artifacts is good, Affinity for Artifact Creatures is a bit more niche, which can make it a bit harder to get the mana discount. His second ability, though, gives all your artifact creatures Menace, which is definitely very powerful and can win games in the right situations. His third ability has a lot of cumulative power. Construct tokens are very good, and when you're making one every turn, they can get big fast. On top of that, they get Menace from his second ability, making them even stronger. This Urza will be going into the B tier, as all of its abilities synergize well, but aren't enough to warrant the 6 mana price tag. Our first Mishra on the list takes us all the way back to Time Spiral, with Mishra Artificer Prodigy. This Mishra at least has some potential in pretty much any format other than Commander, which also happens to be the format that I keep in mind when judging these cards. Due to this, I can't put this card in any tier higher than D tier. This next Mishra is Mishra Excavation Prodigy. This card is good for a number of reasons, the main one being that it provides 2 things that Red desperately needs, card draw and ramp. Unlike its blue counterpart, this brother can help a red deck get started in the early game, with cheap card draw as well as much needed mana advantage. Because of this, I've decided to put this Mishra in the B tier. The third Mishra is Mishra, Tamer of Makfawa, a very powerful but also situational card. Making your opponent sacrifice a creature if they want to target your board can be extremely devastating against the right deck, but also pretty ineffective against the wrong one. On the other hand, giving artifacts unearthed has some definite potential for cool and crazy plays. I'm placing this Mishra in the A tier due to the protection it provides your board, as well as the cool interactions it can have. On to everybody's favorite 3/5 Phyrexian human artificer with Meld, it's Mishra Claimed by Gix. To put it bluntly, before it flips, this card sucks. Doing damage is never bad, but nobody's rejoicing about draining their opponents for 3 damage every time they attack. But after he melds, now that's a whole different story. You get a 9/9 that can do anything from ramp you, to removing opponents' creatures, to even making them discard cards. After careful consideration, I'll put this Mishra into the B tier, as his flip side is powerful, but before he flips, he doesn't really do much. Finally, we reach the end of our list. All that remains now is Mishra Eminent One. This Mishra can create copies of your non-creature artifacts that are also 4/4s. You may have to sacrifice them on end step, but in that short period of time, they can still provide a lot of utility. Even if you can't get much value out of the card you're copying, you still have a 4/4 attacker that can swing in and pressure your opponents. This final Mishra will now live in the B tier, since it can provide powerful utility, but only for a short period of time. After taking a look at all the rankings, I've determined that overall, the Mishras are consistently better than the Urzas. While Urza does have some powerhouses, the strength of his cards fluctuates too much to be consistently playable, whereas Mishra's cards tend to stay in B tier and above. And with that, the very first episode of Magic Monday is brought to a close. If you enjoyed the episode, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'm hoping to make this a weekly thing, so there will definitely be more to come. If you happen to disagree with my placements of any of these cards, or have any ideas for future Magic Monday episodes, please let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.